Hello. Well, we're taking a small break this summer and we're going to air our favorite and most popular tourism related shows like Tourists from Hell, Haunted Tourist Sites, and even the infamous Nami Island. So go get yourself a nice cool beverage, sit back, relax, and enjoy. And welcome to the Dark Side of Soul podcast. This is Joe.
This is Shawn.
Get ready today because, Shawn, we run a business.
We do.
We run a business that depends on people's reviews, our clients, customers, guest reviews, kind of like Yelp does, but we're on TripAdvisor and other platforms. We depend on their reviews. Mm-hmm. But we don't get to review back.
No, that we don't. Very rarely does the professional get to review the client.
So I'm going to give a disclaimer up front. This will be our most petty podcast we've done.
Yes, but I mean, and it's, but I think so. Yeah. So if everyone, obviously, they probably already know tourist types, I guess is a better way to put it, Joe. Tourist types.
Yeah, archetypes.
Right. Of tourists that drive us nuts.
Well, this is just kind of this is a primer on how to behave.
Yes, that's the point of this, right?
It's kind of like saying like don't be rude to waiters, that type of stuff. Mm-hmm. Things like that.
Unless they're rude to you, but
yeah, of course. And if you got bad tour guides, there's that. Sure. But these are things that we're doing that it's not really bugs us. It bugs us because it inconveniences our other guests.
That's a massive part of it as well.
And that's actually, I'm looking at our notes right now. I'm like, oh my God, most of this is because it just ruins it for everyone else.
Right. And a big thing that I've come, because of course I was a traveler before I was a guide. And then I was guiding for a couple of years before I actually started training and guiding and became a certified guide, certified heritage interpreter, which is guiding at the method of communication used in guiding that I employ anyway. So before I became a professional guide, trained, certified, and I've realized that a lot of people love traveling. I mean, a lot of people really, really love traveling, and most people fancy themselves really good travelers. Mm-hmm. That may be true. They're good travelers, but they're shit tourists. It's not the same thing. You may be good.
God. You're hitting pretty close to home on this one. Well, I mean, not me, but some entities I'm dealing with right now.
Yeah. So there you go. Like you may know how to get cheap plane tickets. You're a good traveler. You're smart traveling. But when you go on a tour, you may do some of the things that we're going to talk about today. It makes you a bad tourist. And a
bad guest.
A bad guest. And so a lot of this is talking about the dark side of traveling that we've personally experienced. And it kind of, as tourism professionals, we're giving you tips on how to use appropriate etiquette when you're on a tour.
Yeah. Shall we start?
Let's jump in.
We got a lot.
We're already feet first, so let's do it. All right.
And we actually have code names for these types, archetypes. Okay, we're going to start with in general. One is the hand holders.
Oh boy.
People who can't do anything on their own. They don't read anything that you give them. And They just need to be guided the entire process through. And what's funny is like a lot of the many of the handholders end up being really negative on the tour itself and give negative review. They're very high maintenance, but they can't do anything themselves. As in, when someone books, they say, we give them like what time and location it goes to, but I will still get messages asking what the time and location is. And in order to ask me that, you have to go through the email that tells you what the time and location is. Yeah, things like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, our dark side tour is kind of funny because Shawn does it during the weekdays and I do it on the weekends, and we have very different tours. So we say on Monday through Friday, you start at this place, and on Saturdays and Sundays, you start at this place. And I've done everything I can, and we still occasionally get someone who goes to the wrong location because they didn't read.
Right. Just pay attention to your notes.
Yeah. I try not to put too many in there.
Right. And it's pretty straightforward.
What's the difference between regular and extended? Well, as it says on there, regular is an hour and a half, extended is 2.5. It's an extra hour.
Right. So, yeah. And I think the lesson there then in etiquette is when you keep asking your tour, your guide or the company questions like this, it actually takes us a lot of time to respond, and it's laid out on the whatever site you're booking through. And a tip: if you're going to book a tour, book directly through a company that's providing the tour.
Yeah, if you book through TripAdvisor or get your guide, they're taking around 15 to 30% off of it, and we can't raise the price on them, so we eat that cost.
That's right. And then that means we don't eat. Because this is our job. So this is not a hobby. It's pay attention to the information that's being given to you. It's often given to you twice: when you're looking at the tour, when you're choosing to book it, the information's there, and then when you get the confirmation. All the information's sent again. And when you get the confirmation, it's always there. If you have some concerns about, like sometimes I've gotten, and maybe you have as well, Joe, people will contact us with questions about access to places because some people may have mobility issues.
True.
And any type of question like that, of course, contact your guide or the company. Happy to help out with situations like that. But if you're asking like, which subway stop is it? It's like, it's in the confirmation. It's all there. It's all there.
In the past, I mean, we've been doing this for 10 years, and I've used this what system security people would say. I've used it to harden the system. Every time something like this has happened, I've found ways to make it not happen. It's helped us get more robust in making sure people are going to the right place. And it happens way less now than it used to.
Right. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I don't think, especially earlier this year when you kind of streamlined the system and tourism was bouncing back, everything was kind of, we separated our two tours. Yeah. So they're named differently and whatnot. So I think the idea of them going to the wrong place now, I don't think it's happened at all since we've done that.
I've just gotten a few questions. It's only on one platform. It's still the same name.
Oh, right. Okay. Oh, yes. Right. Yes. Right. Okay. We don't have to name the platform, but I know the one you're talking about. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, double check your stuff, everyone.
Double check.
Double check.
Another one is tour explaining. I love this one, Shawn. You did this one.
Yeah. So I've coined the term tour explaining, and these are the people who come on tours and they try to explain things about the content of the tour to the guide leading the tour. So you are explaining something that the guide is an expert in. So it's like the idea of they say mansplaining, right? Like a man explaining something to a woman who's a professional or an expert in that particular topic. In my professional experience as a guide, not only men do this, absolutely everyone does this. Everyone. in the tourism industry anyway. Women do it to me, men do it to me. It doesn't matter how old they are, how young they are, where they're from, how they identify. Everyone does it at some point. And it happened just recently, actually, and this was what gave me the idea to do this episode. So my tour finished. I had a tour explainer on tour explaining Korean folklore to me. And I contacted Joe, and I said, I just had this person who was tour explaining. And then Joe's response was just laughing. And I was like, let's do an episode. Let's do an episode.
Yeah, because I always laugh at Shawn's misfortunes.
Thanks, Joe. So when you go on a tour, even if you are well versed in the topic, do not interrupt your guide.
That's so rude. That's just inconsiderate.
Right.
And it's using good. You have intelligence, but you're using your intelligence as a weapon.
Yeah.
You're not using it to enlighten people. You're using it to make other people feel small.
Right.
And that's a sure sign of insecurity.
Yeah. So like in the some of the types too are like they'll try to finish the story. When I get to a certain point in the story, like towards the end, then they'll like say the ending, what they think the ending is. They're usually wrong. But
yeah, I get that sometimes, but rarely.
Right. Yeah, rarely as well for me. But it happens enough where it frustrates me. It's an action that frustrates me. So it's always in my head, even though it doesn't happen often. It happens like maybe 2 or 3 times a year. That's it. And considering all the tours we do and all the clients we have, that's pretty low. That's a low percentage.
A lot of my stories tend to be like setups and punchlines, like jokes. And when people yells the punchline while I'm still doing the setup, kind of kills it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it does. Yeah.
Because there's a way I'm phrasing it to make it even more entertaining. Yeah, you're right. But
that's right.
You don't have the phrasing right that actually makes a different twist on the story.
That's right. We're storytellers. So there's a cadence to how you tell the story.
It's a rhythm.
Everything. Yeah. So
that we worked on, like stand-ups do their routines. They work on their rhythm to get that right.
Right. Exactly. So do not interrupt your guides. If you go on a tour, even if you are an expert, you have background, you either like you're an armchair expert, or you are an actual, you've studied the topic. Never ever interrupt your guide, even if the guide is wrong.
Yeah.
You never ever interrupt the guide. If you think there's content on a tour that's wrong and you can prove it, talk to the guide after the tour and mention it to them. Because
I had actual historians on my tour, and that's the difference too. Is people who know don't show off their knowledge. That's a basic Taoism tenet.
Those who know. I can't remember how it's phrased, but those who don't know say they know, and those who do know don't say they know. Something like phrase. I'm screwing up the phrasing, but something like that.
Yeah. So if you're really loud about your knowledge, that proves that that shows that you kind of don't know that much. But the people that do know a lot, they're quiet and they just listen. And then I've had some historians of mine, and then at the end I ask, okay, so how wrong was I? And they said, other than some exaggerations, you were pretty much right on point. So, okay.
And the exaggerations are still a storytelling aspect. So.
Well, yeah, but also when I come across 3 different numbers, I'll pick the biggest number.
Okay. Right. I see. Right. So, yeah. Like I've had some people on my tour and we're getting more and more people on tours these days who can speak Korean, or they have at least a working foundation in the Korean language. And so on my tours, I will mention certain ghosts and deities and spirits and whatnot, and they have names. And I will say the name in Korean first before I give the English translation.
Oh, no.
And before I give the English translation, some people will yell it out. They're usually wrong. They're actually confused. They're confusing the word with something else. But then it just it ruins the flow. It just ruins the flow of.
Don't interrupt.
Do not interrupt.
I actually say at the beginning of my tours, I say it in a polite way, a humorous way. Don't interrupt me.
Yeah. Now I'm completely fine because we walk between stops. If people have questions, I will definitely be
Yeah.
willing to answer. But if I don't have time to answer it, I know the answer and I know I won't have time to explain it in the time that we have left before the next stop. I won't
Mhm.
start sharing the story. I'll say, I'll explain it a little bit later. If I forget, then just remind me again.
Yeah, I intentionally
Uh,
have gaps to
yeah.
answer questions or to talk. Yeah.
Right. And we need to rest our voices as well. If we're talking consistently for 2.5, 3 hours, that would be pretty rough. And people, you need people need to rest their ears as well, which is
Yeah, yeah,
always,
because I've been on tours in the past where the tour guide was constantly talking. We're like, please just give us a break.
that's to me, that's a tour guide that's untrained and
Yeah,
unexperienced. It's an unexperienced and untrained guide.
yeah,
Guides shouldn't do that.
yeah.
Unless it's a short introductory piece that you're doing that's about 10, 15 minutes. Like if you go to Cardiff Castle or Edinburgh Castle,
Yeah.
you will, you may hear the introductory guides when you show up into the castle. They'll
Mm.
give like these 10, 15-minute introductions to the location, and they don't stop. They keep talking because it's only 15 minutes, then it's done. Then you send off, and then a lot of the guides are called rovers, the roving guides who walk around and ask you if you have any questions and things like that.
Oh.
But yeah. Anyway, we can move on to the next point because I can
All
talk about
right.
this all day. Do
So
not
some of them
just finally do not tour explain.
they're not tour explain. Now some people we are happy to give a refund if something goes wrong. Or something calamitous happens that's out of anyone's control. That is so happy that's fine. But when it is from someone's, I guess, pure irresponsibility,
Right.
we're not like, no, we don't. Things like people who don't show up and still want a refund.
Yeah.
They don't read and they go to the wrong location.
Yeah.
They don't listen to our heed to not take a taxi, and I send extra emails, don't take a taxi, and then people are late because they took a taxi. Oh, I got one. They didn't request a refund, but they got really upset. Okay, we're sitting here. I had a group and they're waiting, and everyone showed up like 10 minutes early. So the whole group was there.
Yeah.
And they were looking really impatient. And I said, do you mind if we have one more party coming? We'll wait till 5 minutes after 8. And I'm checking my messages, trying to see if they've contacted me because I leave all this contact info. And I'm like, all right, 8:05, we start. And I do my opening spiel because I have a long opening spiel just in case someone shows up while I'm doing that. I also have a certain way of going around. So we cross back to the meeting spot just in case.
Right. On your route. Yeah, right.
Just in case. So we did that, and I kept looking. Do you guys see a couple around? Do you see a couple? And we walked right around and it's like, no, we don't see anyone. Then I got a text the other day, and the day after, and like, we showed up at 8:10 and no one was there. What happened to your tour? I'm like, because the tour leaves at 8:00.
Yeah, right.
We didn't hear from you. From you.
Yeah.
If you're going to be late, tell us. We don't know. We don't know what's happened to you. We're not going to sit here and wait, and everyone's going to wait because you're late.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're not going to do it. And people want refunds for this.
Yeah. No way. And the privilege that people have where they're like, I want my refund. It's like
entitlement.
Entitlement. Sorry. Entitlement. Right. Not privilege. Right. Entitlement. Like you are the one that made other people wait. So, and these other people might have other plans, like they've timed out, they're traveling maybe. So they're like, okay, the tour ends at around 10:30. Then we'll go meet our Korean friends in Hongdae at 11. And they have all these plans. The tour does not revolve around you, just like the world doesn't.
Yes.
So you are on the tour with others. It is your tour, but it's also the tour for others.
Yeah.
And you can't anticipate to be, everything to halt and bend to your preferences and things like that.
If you're late, if a movie starts at 8, it starts at 8. If a play starts at 8, it starts at 8.
That's
If a cruise ship leaves at 8, it leaves at 8.
Right.
If a train leaves at 8, it leaves at 8. If an airplane leaves at 8, it leaves at 8. If a tour leaves at 8, it leaves at 8.
That's right. So, and yeah, and it just drives me nuts. And I really try not to be late. Leave your hotel, figure out how to get to the starting point. If you're in a city and you're not familiar with the city, figure out how to get to the starting point the day before.
Yeah, give some lead time.
Yeah, or at least an hour, or at least a couple of hours before. If it's at 8:00 that night, at that afternoon, look at a map. It's like, okay, how do I get here from where I'm going to be? How long does it take? Check. All this information's online now, and then in this situation, you could also just contact us quickly and say, I just want to double check. How long does it take from this location? I'm new to Seoul.
Happy to help.
How long does it take to get to Sadaemun Station from Myeongdong? It's like, okay, yeah, well, Myeongdong, not very far at all, but take the subway.
Yeah, take the subway.
Yeah, and do not take the bus. Do not take a taxi. And you can walk, but of course, it's going to take you a long time. Probably won't take you as long as taking a taxi on a Friday night, but get on the subway. It's easy. And yeah, it's very, very easy to be on time if you're willing to be on time.
And there's an app called Kakao Metro that will tell you how long it will take you to get there if you use the subway. Yeah. It'll tell you exactly what platform to stand on and everything, every little detail in English.
Yeah. There's another one too, the one that I use just to give people other options. I don't use the Kakao one. I think it's called Subway Korea. It's all in English as well. You tap on the station, departs from, and then arrives at, and it shows you the fastest way and how long it's going to take.
And it's accurate. It's very, very accurate. So if it looks like you're going to be, if it's the app tells you you're going to be a little bit afterward, then we're accessible. Just give us a text or an email. I check the emails too. Just send us saying, hey, we're running late, which happens, and we'll wait for you. Unless it's like 30 minutes late, then we're like, well, we'll find a place where you can meet us because we got to get started.
Right. Yeah. So
anyway,
don't be late. So, and then a couple of stories. So if you remember these, so earlier this year, there was someone who didn't show up for my tour, and I waited and had other guests. And we waited a bit. I do my introduction. My introduction takes about 5 minutes. And then introduction's done, looked around, checked my email, checked my WhatsApp. These are the ways that people can contact us. Check to see, sometimes Joe will, because they'll contact you instead of me.
Yep.
And then make sure that Joe didn't contact me. And then I was like, okay, let's go. We start. Great tour. Everyone on that tour was fantastic that night. Really wonderful group of people. And next day we get a 1-star review. And I was like, fuck, man, everyone was great. What happened? And then then I looked at it, and it was the guy that didn't show up. He said he got lost on the way to the tour.
Oh, I remember this.
So he didn't show, but by the time, I don't think he even showed up at all. He didn't even make it to Sadaemun. And then he's like, and I think I should get either he said I should get a free tour, which essentially is a refund. And then he gave us a 1-star review.
Yeah.
It wasn't even on the tour.
I got lost, so I'm going to give you 1 star.
And like you said at the beginning, these things really hurt companies. These review companies have the reviews that you, the listener, the traveler, the power that you have over the tourism industry is way, way too strong. These review sites are way too powerful. They have way too much impact on
they have
companies.
very little systems in place to weed out disingenuous reviews.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And so fortunately, I remember you contacted TripAdvisor, which was the platform he reviewed on. And you told him what had happened. You're like, just read it. He says he didn't even show up. And then TripAdvisor deleted it.
Yeah. And they've done it a couple of times for me.
Yeah. Yeah. So
there's some fake reviews on some of these too. People trying to trash competition, trying to trash their competition.
So shitty.
And at the beginning, I knew someone who made all these fake accounts to give himself good reviews to build up. And for the longest time, they were like one of the number one tour agencies for Seoul on TripAdvisor because they loaded it up with all the fake reviews first.
Added reviews.
Until TripAdvisor started coming up with systems to quell that. But it didn't matter because since they were number one, it was a cycle. So people kept booking them. So people kept giving reviews.
Right. Yeah. Nope, that's nasty too.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right. So now those are the general ones. Oh my God, we're gonna go through the. Okay, some of these walking tour. Now we're gonna talk about just general walking tour stuff. Okay, we've talked about the no shows. People just don't show up without giving any contact. Not even trying to contact us anymore. This is why we don't take cash anymore because I've waited for groups and they never showed up. And the entire group was paying cash. And like I gave up a night I could have spent with my family for nothing. So and I've had this I've had like a group of 10 on a food tour. This has happened twice on a food tour. Now, if it's a food tour, I have to make reservations at these restaurants if it's a large group. And they were going to take cash, and it's on faith that they will show up. Now, one time they just didn't show up.
Right.
Another time they showed up and they saw that I didn't look Korean, so they canceled.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that. Wasn't that this year?
That was years ago. That's when I finally said no more cash. We're not doing this anymore. Right.
And I always find that funny too. You didn't look Korean. I was like, well, Korean tour guides, professionals will run tours in other countries for Korean travelers. That's how the tourism industry works.
Yeah.
so just because we're not Korean doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. People judge that. So they can't. So I have to go to the restaurants and apologize and say, I'm sorry, we have to cancel our reservation. And that puts them out.
Sure. That's right.
And it hurts my relationship with the restaurants.
Yeah.
So that's why we don't take cash anymore. Yeah. And it is also, it's just rude to the other guests to not show up. Cause I've had like times that I used to just contact people. Sometimes I still do. If you have a local number, I will call. And then like one time we were waiting, it was like 8:05 and, I called the number and this guy goes, hello. Hi, this is Joe from Darkside. We're waiting. Are you coming to? Do you need help getting to where you need to go? I just didn't feel like going. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
All waiting for this dude. He was just maybe passed out drunk or something. It was like,
yeah. So like you made the comparison of. So the airplanes or films or whatever starting at 8:00 and the tour starts at 8:00. If it says it starts at 8, it starts at 8.
Yeah. So I'm just, that's why I don't even bother with that anymore. That's why I'm even stricter about starting on time.
Right. But the difference, what I was going to say is that the difference is when you don't show up to a movie, the cinema doesn't care. You're not putting anyone out. Because they're not going to wait for you anyway. They're not going to call you like, oh, your seat's empty. Are you coming? If you're not going to show up for a tour, you're putting other people out. You're making people wait. That's the big difference, and that's why it's rude. So be better. Yeah.
Another one you kind of touched on this before, the tour explainers, but I have other ones called I call them the hecklers. They think they're funny, and most of the times they're not that funny. I just remember this one woman and almost every time I said something that was kind of funny, she would go, touche. She kept saying touche all the time. And that was her catchphrase. Touche.
Does she even know what that means?
I don't know.
But you keep saying that word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
Yeah. But it was interrupting me all the time because, she had a joke about what I was talking about and then ended it with touche.
That's funny.
Yeah, those types hecklers. Oh man, just be respectful. I mean,
it's rude at stand-up comedy shows.
Oh, yeah.
If you're going to watch theater, I mean, we don't have groundlings anymore, so you don't have to yell at the performers anymore.
Yeah.
It's I don't know, man. I mean, if the tour guide's being really bad, yeah, you can do like Night at the Apollo and boo them off the stage. I don't know, but generally just don't heckle people while they're trying to do a performance for you.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, just
Yeah.
if you have a problem with it, or make your complaint afterward, or just leave. You can leave the tour. You can do that as well. Yeah.
Yeah. You have some hecklers too, I bet.
But yeah, I mean, but I guess it's more like I have had the people who interrupt. So these are the questions, the askers, I call them.
Yeah.
Who midway through a story they'll blurt out a question.
Oh yeah. Don't do that. Don't interrupt.
Yeah. And they're not tour explaining, because they're not trying to explain the content or trying to finish the story for me by getting it wrong all the time. They'll just ask a question halfway through. So like for example, one of the urban legends that I share, I talk about something that you do. If you agree to do it with this phantom, then you die. And then the story's obviously not finished because my tone didn't indicate that it's finished. I'm still talking.
Yeah.
And then a couple of times it's happened, like, well, what happens if you say no? It's like, just wait.
Yeah. Because this messes up my story. I have to, right. There's a rhythm to this.
Recalibrate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just be quiet and listen. Enjoy the story. Yeah. If you don't enjoy it, then that's it. Just still be quiet. So we don't go to your job and bother you, sit down behind you while you're in your cubicle somewhere or wherever you work at home and like whisper in your ears, like, I think you should hit the,
and when we say you, we don't mean you listener. We're talking about people, because you're too smart.
Like that.
You're too smart for this. You're laughing with us on this one because you don't do this.
That's right. Yeah. So anyway.
This is a touchy subject. People projecting their own agendas. It's psychological projection. One was really uncomfortable. It's like during the winter time, I occasionally get someone that shows up in a short sleeve t-shirt or in shorts.
Oh, yes.
And so I comment and I go, "Ooh, are you sure you're dressed okay for tonight? It's a long way." And they're like, "Okay." I mean, I just had it like last week. Guy did that, and I was like, "You sure it's cold?" Oh yeah, that's fine. So I did this, and one woman was dressed in a skirt above her knees, and I said, "Oh, it's a little cold tonight. It's January."
Right.
You're going to be okay? And she goes, "Oh yeah. I grew up in Michigan." Oh, okay, cool. And then we went to the tour, and then she left a review saying, "Well, welcome to the patriarchy." And she's talking about how this middle-aged guy gave her a once over and undressed her with his eyes. I'm like, no, I did.
Absolutely did not.
No, not at all.
I remember that.
But she was. It sounded like this person was projecting what she wanted to see. And now later on, I explained, like, I was mortified. I'm like, oh my God, did I really come across that way? And we talked. I mean, she removed the review, but it scares me. It really. I remember that. I'm so scared of that now. I was like, I was just commenting because it's like the equivalent of wearing shorts. Was it?
Right. Yeah. Right. Looking at your legs or anything like that.
Yeah. I don't do that with I don't leer at my tour guests. No.
Yeah.
No, I'm a professional.
Right. I don't even remember my guests once they leave the tour most of the time.
Don't say that.
To be honest, I mean, like,
I remember them.
A good 95% of them I don't. And some of them I've stayed in touch with, and some of them are now friends, like like Angel and Joel, and Sharon, right, and other people I've met around I met first and then came on the tour and stuff like that, who are already friends, like Devin and buddy Cameron, Cameron,
Cameron,
and whatnot. But I mean, for the most part, I mean, if I'm going to have like 25 people on a tour on a night, I'm not going to remember everybody.
Well, you're not going to. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's just, yeah. You're not going to.
But some people.
You don't see this as like, oh, I'm scoping for, something,
No, of course not. No, absolutely not. Yeah. I mean, I'm doing a job and I'm hankering. If it's a Friday night, I'm hankering to finish and maybe meet Cameron, go for a beer. Cameron and Sorak-san after the tour. Something we've met a bunch of times and had beer. And you came and met us once. You, me, and Joey and his wife from Dice Latte. That's what I do on Friday nights. But the other days, I'm done. I just go home. So no, like things. My work is done. I always hope that everyone's had a good time, but no, I don't. I'm not meaning it in a negative way. I just don't remember most of my clients. So,
I do.
Sorry. Like, there's some that I remember because they stay active on like our social media, like Leah and Zoo. So some, if you're hearing your name, you know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about you.
Yeah.
So
you.
Yeah. And Leah was on both. Leah lived in Korea and she was on both of our tours.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're friends on Facebook. And I'm friends with Zoo. She follows our dark side. I don't know if I don't know if I'm friends with her, but anyway, so some of them I remember because we stay in touch. Other ones I don't.
Another example of projecting agenda is early days of the tour when a Korean guest claimed I made everything up to make Korea look bad.
Right. I remember that. I don't remember. I remember you told me that.
Yeah, and he was making everyone uncomfortable. Yeah, so he was really upset, and because I wasn't giving the nationalist story, the Park Chung-hee nationalist story, which I think he was looking
history.
for. Yeah.
And the pop history.
And so, and I went through, and this is why I double check and I triple check everything. I was like, no, this is accurate. This is accurate, but this doesn't go with the nationalist Daehan Minguk sterilized history that's taught in schools. This is beyond that. When someone says George Washington didn't really cut down a cherry tree, how dare you say that? It's true. He didn't cut down a cherry tree. That was made up.
All national myths. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So
making folk heroes out of people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Things like that. Just if you have an issue with certain things, talk to the guide at the end. Don't bring it up at the time in front of everyone.
Yeah.
So
another one was we have trouble with is people who get a little bit too inebriated on the tour. We encourage drinking. I mean, before COVID, this was a fun part. That's why I have so many bathroom breaks, because people drank a lot, and that's fine. But some people get a little too far gone. I remember this one couple from Scotland, and everyone on the tour was going against them. They were trying to lose them because they were slow too. And they were interrupting. They had the horrible jokes, and they were slurring their speech so much, and it's not because they were Scottish. Sorry, joking. I'm a Macpherson, I know. But they were just so drunk, and they did people. The tour group, we were walking at one point, and some of the people were going, walk faster, we'll lose them. They were so obnoxiously drunk. Another one is occasionally we'll get a bunch of what's called PFCs, private first class.
Oh boy.
Some American soldiers who, fresh out of their mom's house, it's just like they're not really kind of used to venturing in different countries or something, or they just let them off the base for the first time. There's Caesar. I think Caesar says there's a reason infantry has the word infants in it. Very obnoxious. No, I've had great people wonderful people from the U.S. military on the tours. They're great.
Yeah, me too.
But occasionally
99%.
In fact, the week after, I had some officers on my tour, and I told them about that, and they just shook their heads and they went, "Oh, it's PFCs," and it is. And you get the people who are just don't know how to behave in public, and they think they act like the worst part of Jersey Shore. That's one group. One of the guys, we finished the tour. Well, half of them disappeared because they felt like they just wanted to go eat galbi or get drunk somewhere. But they were harassing people on the street, just regular people. They were just going behind people and going boo to just people on the street.
Oh, that's inappropriate.
They were so bad. They were so bad. And at the end, just one guy just came up and apologized for his friends.
Oh, really? That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, he was cool. I was like, okay, you were cool. Some of your friends were a little obnoxious. On top of that, stragglers. Now that kind of mentioned the one couple. I understand. We try to keep up pace because there have been times that people have almost or have missed the subway when it closes because the tour took so long.
Right. And that's a serious thing too that I think a lot of people don't realize.
Yeah, it's a variation of the person who's late is the straggler because we walk to a location. I try to walk at a pretty moderate pace. I don't go really fast. The stragglers tend to be stragglers because they're busy talking to their friends. They're not really paying attention to the group. And so when I stop at a place to tell a story, we have to wait another 30 seconds to a minute for that person to catch up so I can start.
It adds time to the tour. Really does.
And so and everyone's waiting for you. And so I say at the beginning now that if you're straggling, I'm just going to start without you. You can catch up whenever.
Right. Yeah. Now for me, like I completely agree with that, but I think it's worth saying too that sometimes, like I've already said, like say if people have mobility issues or something, tell your guide.
Tell us so that we know.
Then you're not a straggler then. So just actually this past week, I had a woman on the tour who asked me if I could slow my walking pace a little bit because she had trouble keeping up. Yeah. And I was like, yes, absolutely. Sure. No problem. And,
I did last week too. She ended up having to leave when the regular edition was finished.
Okay.
But I kept asking her because she had a bum knee. Her knee started acting up. And I was asking her, I was getting updates on her condition and she couldn't continue after the first part. And I was like, okay, well, do you want me to give you a refund? She goes, oh, no, don't worry about it. Because things happen. If it's something out of your control, I'll give you a refund.
Sure. And refunds are not, that's right. And anyone listening shouldn't think that those guys never give refunds. No, we give refunds within reason if they make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't show up for the tour and then say, can I get a refund? Like the movies, the cinema's not going to say, you can't go to a cinema and say, hey, I didn't show up for the movie. Can I have my money back for the ticket?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here. So within reason.
Something to go along with the stragglers are the ones who are blatantly disinterested.
Yeah, the ones that seem to be dragged along by friends who are interested. And that's sometimes how I notice those. Yeah,
that's one reason I divided the tour into regular and extended because I was noticing that some of the people they just couldn't handle 2.5 hours of this.
Yeah.
But Shawn, you remember this one. This is when Shawn was just starting and he was learning the tour from me. He was coming along and only one person had signed up. And she was the only person on the tour. And in the middle of me telling the story, she whipped out her phone and started texting her friends.
And wasn't she playing Pokemon Go?
Oh yeah, she play Pokemon Go.
Because I remember we were walking because I noticed it because we were between stops. And this is when I was learning the tour, and I ended up designing the route differently. So my tour is different now, but I was on the tour, maybe it was just like the first or second, maybe the first time, maybe. I don't remember, but it was cold because it was a cold time of year as well. I remember. And I looked over, I was walking just kind of ahead of her a little bit. Then I noticed she was kind of dragging behind. And
She was dragging behind us because she was playing on her phone the whole time.
I was like, she's fucking playing Pokemon Go. And then she said it. She's like, oh, I'm trying to, I don't know, catch Squirtle or some shit. I don't know what she was saying. But yeah, it was.
Completely just not interested in the tour.
No.
You're the only person here and you're playing on your phone while I'm talking. Anyway, but we get that. We get the people that they tend to be they end up being stragglers, or the people who just end up talking with their friends and shit on the tour. And I'm like, well, then don't be bothered when I start a story while you're not there.
Right. Yeah. So it's whatever. Yeah. And all those things. And then I do think there's a subcategory. And these are the interested talkers. They're interested in the tour, but they still talk too much on the tour. So when you're telling us, so I've noticed this now and again, they'll make friends with somebody on the tour. Maybe not make friends, but they'll something, there's some connection between a couple of people on the tour, a couple of groups or something. And maybe they're from the same city or the same province or state or went to the same school or something like that. Yeah. And then they start talking, and then they keep talking and talking. So between the stops, they talk a lot. And then I get to the point where I'm ready to start a new story, or at the next stop, they'll walk up and they're still talking. And yeah, like, can you wrap it up a little bit?
Oh, I just start going. Yeah,
I do as well. And I just speak loudly, and that gets them. I usually I'll clap my hands and go, okay, like that. And then I do. I do that. Gets them to stop. I sound like I realize I kind of sound like Barack Obama when I do it. I go, yeah. just. People say I sound like the guy from Dirty Jobs.
Ah, you do? Oh my gosh. I don't hear it. I forget. Yeah, Mike Rowe. Mike Rowe
from Dirty Jobs. I don't know.
Yeah. And then to go along with people who don't read or people who don't listen.
Oh, yeah. People don't listen. Yeah.
And instructions.
Especially to instructions. And this is really bad on certain tours. So definitely walking tours. I've never experienced, I've only really experienced it once, but on hiking tours, when I lead my hiking tours, your guide, even if you are an excellent hiker, mountaineer, you do not know the trail. And you could be a really good physical guide, but you're not a very good intelligent one if you're not willing to, not guide. You may be a very good physical hiker or mountaineer, but you're not a very intelligent one if you're not willing to listen to someone who has more experience. So it only happened once where there's one point on one of my hiking tours where it can get very slick. And I make the decision whether to go up a certain point and look at a shamanic cave that's really tucked away. It's really, no one goes there. It's the type of place that's never in Lonely Planet. You have to have a guide to take you there. But it's wet. It can be quite wet and slick in that area. And the rocks can get quite mossy. And then they're slippery. So I make the decision when I'm there whether it's okay to go up or not. So I had a guy on the tour, and the rocks are okay, but I was pointing out places for him not to step. It's like, here will be dry, and I went up first. I was like, you can see that it's quite dry here, but avoid these places here. These will be wet. And he was like, okay. We looked at this cave, came back, and I pointed at another spot, and it's like, and be careful of this place here. He's like, oh, no, don't worry about it. I'm okay. He jumped. And when he jumped, he landed right on the spot I told him not to go. He slipped. He fell in some brackish water that was nearby. He got up. He was okay. Really tall, kind of tough guy. He wasn't really hurt. And his pride was hurt, but he wasn't really hurt. And he stood up and he's like, oh, I'm okay. And then the smell of the brackish water hit him. And it smelled like baby shit. So his arse was fine, but his stink wasn't. And he didn't continue the tour. He's like, can we go down now? It's like, okay. He's like, I don't want a refund or anything. I think it's just better. I can't continue the hike stinking like this. I was like, okay, yeah, fair enough. Especially when that dries, it's going to be awful. Listen to your guide. Listen to what your guide has to offer. Not only the story, but listen to the instructions as well.
Oh, sorry, I wasn't listening.
Soul.
All right, now I don't think
No, I
Sean's
don't
gonna
know.
have-
Yeah, I have nothing to add to this one because this is all you.
Yeah, I'm going to start talking about stuff on food tours. Rules I have now, and I've had to deal with this. Can you believe I've had to deal with some of this stuff? Number one on the list: public exhibitionists.
What?
I actually have to have this as a rule in the tour. Shirts must stay on the entirety of the evening.
What?
This has happened twice. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, back up. Need some context here.
Yeah. People, they're in party mode. And there's this one group of military contractors. Okay, this is fun. Okay, so this is how this all happened. Is I brought my friend Jung-ah, who was kind of, she's attractive. And the only other person who'd signed up, other than this group of military contractors, there was this one couple, and it was a guy, a Swedish Marine who looked like Popeye, and his Swedish airline attendant's wife. So you can picture this. So it's a giant ball of testosterone one-upmanship with two attractive ladies.
Oh, boy.
Getting really drunk off of beer and chicken.
Yes.
And so, I mean, they're all trying to one up the Swedish Marine, who was cool as hell. He was really cool. And then they started showing, they were comparing tattoos, and then just suddenly two guys just started removing their shirts, which you don't do in Korea. You do not take off your shirt in Korea. You do not show a bare chest,
Right.
especially in a restaurant / bar. You don't do that. That's when I said, okay, tour's over. Let's stop. They actually one of the guys actually gave me a negative review.
That's awful. See,
Because-
that's stupid too. Yeah.
Well, they wanted to go to a karaoke room, which is not part of the tour. So I had to go somewhere. I'm like, okay, well, I can take you one, but I can't be with you. This is not part of the tour. So I went up and I took him to the karaoke room. And I said, okay, guys, bye. And then he left a negative review because he said I abandoned them at the karaoke room. Dude, that wasn't even part of the tour. You guys took your shirts off.
That reminds me, just briefly, just say this quickly. You remember this? Someone booked the extended tour a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And then I told him, I double checked at the beginning, said you and your son, I think it was the older man with his son, you're doing the extended. He's like, yep. And then I was like, good. And then when I tell everyone who isn't on the extended that when the regular tour finishes, you can stay on. You pay 10,000 won and you can stay on and finish. It's about an extra hour.
Oh, this one. Oh, I know this one.
And so when I got to the end and I told everyone, it was like, okay, and that's, and I finished a certain story that finishes the regular version of the tour, regular portion. I was like, okay, anyone who is on the regular, if you'd like to stay on, just let me know. And everyone else, we can take a break for a couple minutes. And a couple of people came over, was like, yeah, I like to stay on. Or some people was like, okay, I like to buy your comic. And so I was handling all that. Some people said they had to leave, so they left, said goodbye to them. The guy came over the older guy and his son came over and we're going to go get some beer. I was like, oh, okay. All right, man. Nice to meet you. Have a safe trip. I'll send you the email tonight. If you have any questions about anything, just email me back. Next day, yeah, give us a 1-star review. He says it was a shakedown. I was trying to get more money out of him in the middle of Seoul. It's like, what? You left before you finished the tour that you paid for. You already paid for it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there was a disconnect somewhere. There was a miscommunication somewhere.
Yeah.
It just made me think of that.
One. That was a weird one.
Anyway.
Another one was I had a group of young men from the UK and a group of young women from the Philippines. And we went they went for the karaoke add-on. So we go into the karaoke room and I was able to get some beers and stuff. And they set it down and we start singing. And then this one guy, of course, it's men oppressing women. This is how this happens. Takes off his shirt, gets one of the bottles of beer, and pours the beer down his chest.
Good grief.
Because, that impresses women, I guess. Okay.
How weird. How bizarre. It's so strange.
So, yeah, that's why I say shirts must stay on.
Why is this going through people's heads sometimes? I just don't understand. It's so weird. That is so strange.
Other people that on my food tours, I don't get along with food snobs very well. That's just I don't get along with snobs in anything, movies, books. I don't get along with snobs very well. I'm like, for me, Shawn, we might disagree on this one. I'm kind of like, okay, I think saying like something is good or bad is kind of one dimensional. I would say if you think something's bad, maybe there's another way of looking at it and you might find what is actually valuable in it. And so when you get the food snobs that only want to eat at Michelin starred restaurants, and they look down on a lot of local cuisine, I don't like them a lot.
What would we disagree on? What was you were thinking we disagree on?
Oh, because you and I disagree on like TV shows and movies.
Oh, but at this point here, though, you mean?
No, you're not a food snob.
No, but you just said we may disagree on something that you're about to say.
Because we disagree on movies we like.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I agree with you.
But I like a lot of trash movies because I find something valuable in it.
I mostly watch trash movies, but the thing is, my point is that I think if you dislike something, you have to articulate why you dislike it. You can't just say it's bad. I think something can be bad, and you can see something as having very little value. But but you have to be able to. For me, I'm more interested in the articulation of good or bad.
Yeah. So. But I just it's one dish. Yeah, say just like something is one good or bad is very one dimensional to me. You find I mean that's the definition of like cult films is because conventionally critics and the initial audiences said it was bad, but turns out it was actually there's some value in it if you looked at it with a different pair of glasses.
Right.
Like Rocky Horror Picture Show, like even Josie and the Pussycats. Now people are starting to like Josie and the Pussycats because people finally got what the joke is about that movie. Okay. Here I'm going on a weird tangent. Josie and the Pussycats. It's funny. It's a funny movie because it's a movie about crass commercialism. And the inside joke is in almost every shot, they snuck a corporate logo in. It's really, and once you catch this, it's very entertaining to catch all the corporate logos. But the critics at the time criticize it because of all the corporate logos. I'm like, you fucking missed the point.
No,
that was the joke.
That's right. I'm sure the filmmaker, the director, writer, whatever, they were happy about that.
They loved that. Yeah. Because I've listened to their commentary, their DVD commentary, because it's one of my favorite films. And they're like, yeah, we intentionally put all these in as a joke.
Was that the movie? Because I've never seen that. Was that the one with Rachel Lee Cook?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I know she's in it because I had a massive crush on her when the movie came out.
Yeah, it's a really fun movie. I still rewatch it. It has great music, really great music because it was the music was written and actually performed by one of the big grunge punk artists of the 90s. But really good. Cool. Picky eaters.
On food.
Don't do a food tour if you're a picky eater. And I've had weird things like I've had vegetarians take my barbecue tour. My pork barbecue tour.
Wow. I didn't know there'd be so much meat on this barbecue tour.
Yeah. I had that.
Where's the corn? Where's the corn on the cob?
Yeah. Or people they're expecting what they have at home. It's like, what do you mean they don't have a diet caffeine free Coke here?
That and you're just reminding me of something else. This was now several years ago, and someone booked Seoul hike, and then they messaged me, they emailed me, and they said, how much hiking is on this tour? was like, the whole thing is hiking pretty much. We don't hike when we meet because we're at a subway station. We take a bus to the trailhead. And then it's pretty much hiking for the night, for 5 hours after that. It's a hiking tour, and all that's it says how long it is. It's about 5 hours, and then we sit down, we drink beer, makgeolli, and eat some good mountainside food.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hiking. Yes, there's a lot of hiking in this tour. It was just weird.
It reminds me of that part of the movie Clerks where they're complaining about the customers, the archetypes of customers like we're doing right now. And there's that one guy that goes, "What do you mean you got no ice? You mean I gotta drink this coffee hot?" Yeah.
Oh boy.
All right. Well, this is leading to what is the legendary worst guest ever. And this is the worst I've ever had. And I'm in a bunch of groups with other tour professionals all around the world, one specifically for food tours. And there's a thread of sharing our worst guest ever. And then I told this story and they said, "Oh, you win." This is the worst guest ever. He broke almost every rule we talked about here. Okay, so and on top of this, get this: the background is the guy's job. He's a hotel concierge. He works in the hospitality industry. One thing, he was a hand holder. Couldn't do anything himself. Was asking, everything, just how to do everything. Also very entitled. He wanted a private barbecue tour, but at the public rate. At the group tour rate.
Oh boy, jeez. No, it doesn't work that way. Yeah.
Because he said, "Oh, I want a private tour," and it's like, "Okay, well, here are the rates for the private tour." "Oh, that's way too expensive for me." "Well, so why don't you do okay, then you can do the public tour." And it turns out he signed up for the public tour, and no one else booked that night, so he ended up getting a private tour anyway.
Oh, okay.
Turned out to be an extremely picky eater. It was not Michelin starred enough for him. He said he called himself a foodie, but he only ate at Michelin starred restaurants. So the places I took him to, he's like, "Oh, that looks dirty. I saw that kitchen. I can't eat there. I saw that kitchen. No. Oh, they're not wearing, oh no, that server's not wearing gloves. Oh God, I don't think I can eat this." He's tried.
Everyone in the restaurant's pouring beer down their chests. I can't go in there.
And he kept bragging about how he was such a foodie, and he goes around the world, and he books these tours, and he tries all this food around the world, but he wouldn't touch any of the food. Well, I mean, at the first place he did, but then he said, "Oh no, I took a peek at the kitchen, and I don't want to do that." And like, we cook the food at our table,
Right?
So it's kind of, they just slice it and we cook it. That's how it is. And then at the final, we went for the chicken option at my favorite tutu fried chicken, run by this lovely couple. And it came, and people love this place. People love this place. And he sat down and he's just like, "I can't eat this." And me, I'm like, I have to eat as much as I can because I don't want to insult my friends that were there. And they make extra stuff for them too. This is a restaurant where the proprietor actually cooks something extra for us. Just some recipe off the top of his head, something extra. He usually gets us a pancake or something else like that. And he wouldn't touch anything. It's like, "Oh no, I can't eat. This place. This is too below my tastes." Okay. And so I had to pretend I had to eat. I had to take it to go. I had to pack it to go. I said, "Oh, I'm going to make," and then in the end, we went to a tout le jour. We went to a franchise bakery because that was the only place he could find something that was good enough for him.
Tout le jour.
Yes, tout le jour. Not even Perry Baguette. It's like the second-rate franchise bakery in Korea.
I think tout le jour is better than Perry Baguette.
Well,
don't really like either one of them.
No,
but oh boy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man.
And remember, I think you remember me talking about him. He's like asking every little question. I mean, it's fine to ask questions, but no, that was like 3 or 4 years ago.
Was it that long ago now?
Yeah.
Because I remember when that happened, because you called, you texted me after, like, I just had the worst tour ever.
Yeah. Yeah, that was, and just the lead up to it. That's where it comes up. Like the more tiny questions that are easily answerable. You know, the person that always asks questions that you can just Google. That's the type.
Right.
You know, things that you could just easily Google and you can answer it. It's asking every one of those little every one of those questions. And it's like, so I've learned like hand holders tend to be the most problematic for me.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to go to another, we're going to finish up by the other variation of being a tour guide is being a media fixer, which I'm retired. I've sort of retired from that.
Because I've never wanted to do it, and I've never done it.
That has been a pain in the ass. It is like having the most high maintenance client that pays you a fraction of the price. Because media, no matter how big the TV show is, they're cheap, or they're cheap to the fixers. Now, I have had some really good experiences. Nat Geo, Andrew Zimmern, a little bit of the Travel Channel, the British shows I worked with, the Singaporean shows I've worked with, they've been pretty good. Australian was great. Yeah. It tends to be the American ones that give me the headaches.
Yeah, the grief. But tell people what a fixer does. There might be a lot of people.
The fixer is the person who basically is the on-ground producer for the show. They contact the fixer if they're going to a different country, and that fixer for a food show will fix up what restaurants they go to, who appears on camera. Sometimes we set up where they're going to stay, and every now and then I'll even track down a crew for them, like audio people that they need to hire locally. We set everything up for them so that everything goes smoothly. But they're very demanding. They don't care. They create a swath of destruction everywhere they go. They don't care. They have to. Their priority is their show, so that's what they do. But they don't care about how many people they inconvenience or just outright insult or fuck up to get this done. I actually I hurt a lot of my contacts. It's hurt some friendships of mine. People have not people still don't talk to me anymore from some of these things. Is why I don't do this anymore. And these people come in with a lot of preconceived notions of what Korea is, and they want it to fit those notions. And when they don't, they force it into that. I have talked about my experience with Anthony Bourdain before. That was it was a good experience because I got to meet Anthony Bourdain before he passed away. And he was cool. It was everything going around it that was just a shit fuck. And it just messed everything up because we had everything set up for them. And then when they landed, they threw everything out. And we had to start all over again, which they don't pay enough for us to do this full time. So we all have day jobs and we have to doing this in our free time. And so we had to scramble, and I had to take time off work to scramble to put this show back together that they threw out the window. That actually contributed to me losing my job in the end a couple of months later. So I lost my job because of this. For what? I barely made $300 from that whole experience. And I didn't get to appear on camera, and I'm just fine. I was expecting that because that's the way it works is this very Orientalist thing. Okay, so when American shows are like shooting in Europe, you can have anyone that looks, you can have Americans in Europe be on TV, but you can't have, Asia has to be Asian. It has to be Orientalist. It has to fit this type of stereotype people have. And so that's why I can't appear on camera on American shows, because people say, oh, this is colonialist or this is cultural appropriation, even though I've lived here almost 20 years and I've immersed, unlike these people who travel around the world, the difference between with someone who actually lives somewhere and someone who's traveling is those of us who live here a long time, we've actually surrendered to the culture.
Yes. Yeah. And I mean, there's certain things too that you don't have to be from a place to be an expert in those things. Like no one's born knowing their own history. History is something that is learned and taught.
Yeah.
So
Americans right now just have this weird idea that your 23andMe results, your DNA constitutes what you're qualified to talk about.
Those things are usually wrong anyway.
Yeah. And well, anyway, and then Anthony Bourdain himself, I mean, the travel shows, even though they've traveled the world, your mind is still back at your New York apartment. You're always know you're going to go back to that New York apartment. So you never surrender yourself to the culture. And I'm working, and I came out of retirement to do this one project. We're finishing it this weekend. If they're listening to it, sorry, but already I've actually kind of given up. I've passed it on to other people on my team because I don't want to deal with them anymore. They're very high maintenance. They want everything to look Asian. They were complaining that they want people to be Koreans to be cooking Korean food in the kitchen, but it's got to be Korean food that Middle America likes. And this is the other thing I like these guys is a lot of these outfits come from New York or LA, and they are somehow experts on what Middle America likes. And they're very condescending and they infantilize Middle America. Like this guy is like saying like, oh, we don't want chicken with bones in it. That might freak out Middle America.
What?
Yeah.
No one eats wings in Middle America?
What, everyone eats chicken nuggets now? Are they all children now? It's all of a sudden since I left America. I mean, Kentucky Fried Chicken is Middle America, and what we eat chicken with bones. It's this infantilization you get from the coastal elites. I hate using that term because anyway,
I'm fine. No, I'm fine making fun of the elites. I'm perfectly fine with that.
Yeah,
historic and living.
It's how condescending they are, and they're not even aware of their own condescension because they're superior. They're naturally superior to everyone.
Not truly.
I want to go even deeper because everyone knows me. My very progressive political credentials. But growing up in the reddest of red states. This is one of the reasons the red states are so red is because of that condescension from the blue states.
Yeah,
it's a form of rebellion.
I honestly think that's why a lot of Canadians are conservatives. Well, I do think that's why a lot of Koreans are definitely young Koreans. Young Koreans are have turned conservative because of the condensation. Jesus Christ,
condescension. I love it. Condensation. I love this.
Well, they are condensing. Of the left and like the leftist elites, like cheating their kids into universities and stuff like that. Oh
yeah, I know when the left starts acting like the right, it kind of ruins the left. And anyway. Yeah. So yeah, they want they don't like Korean kitchens because they're too small and they look too much like Midwestern America.
What? I mean, that's so they want a studio. That's what they wanted.
So I went hunting for studios. It's hard to find a kitchen studio that fits what their image of Asia is. So finally we found one. I found one and I said, here, I got some stuff. I didn't say this literally to them, but here, I got some props. I can ching chong it up for you.
Jeez.
We're going to do what we can to make this look Asian enough for you.
It's crazy.
Oh, fuck. So what really pissed me off is there's a really great chef who's lived in Korea about as long as I have. His father's Korean adoptee. So he's not 100% Korean blood. But he really is well-versed in Korean food. He's one of the greatest, nicest guys you ever met. Most positive person. And he did this great demonstration of Korean fried chicken in an actual like traditional cauldron. Outdoors. He did that and he did bulgogi and everything was just on point. So perfect. And then we get in the car and the guy says, Joe, do you have any more people like this? Because we need pure Koreans for this show.
God.
It's weird. I went off on him. On this because he was saying what he's doing. This is cultural appropriation. This is colonialism at its worst. I'm like,
horseshit.
You don't see that you trying to orientalize everything.
Yeah,
that you want chicken with no bones on it. So Grandma McNugget over in Illinois can cook this. You don't see that's colonialism right there. That's cultural appropriation right there. Is you're trying to Americanize Korean food, but you want to put a Korean face on it so you legitimize your colonialism.
Yeah. People don't know what they're talking about. I kind
of said this in the car, and that's why I'm not working with them right now. I shoved them off. They just pissed me off so much. They pissed me off.
Yeah.
I'm so upset with this. And that's why I don't do fixing anymore, especially for American shows, is they throw their Orientalist perceptions on things, and they act like they're just doing this because we're so much more enlightened than other people. Oh, God.
You know what I find really interesting, and I've always found this, and I think what you're saying is an example of it as well. Before we wrap up, is that for say like what we do, we're tour guides in Korea and living here, researching, studying, and living in Korea under its laws within the society, married into the society, for me, half my life, and you coming up on 20 years as well.
Yeah.
So the acceptance of what we do is is much higher. We are mostly really admired or respected by Koreans in Korea.
True.
And when I speak to other Koreans and when I speak to Koreans in Korea and then we're hanging out or something, if I talk to my father-in-law, he likes to hear stuff that I do and things like that. And my mother-in-law, my Korean friends, I have Korean friends who work in the travel industry, and they're like, we need more people from around the world doing tours. We can get more people here. Like, we need Portuguese speaking guides. We need Spanish speaking guides. And if the Koreans can't do it, then we get non-Koreans who can speak Spanish to get more Spanish speakers who may want to come, who maybe can't also speak English.
True.
So they're all about this kind of thing. They love it. I have one of my close Korean friends used to be a tour guide in Moscow. He spoke Korean. And of course, so he was targeting Korean travelers to Moscow, and then sharing the history of the city because he studied it. That was his background, and the local people loved it. They thought it was great. They're like, "Thank you for doing this. These people are coming in. They're getting all this information. You studied all this stuff. This is fantastic. Thank you." Mm-hmm. But then you get people in the West who look at us and they're like, geez, look at these white guys leading tours in Korea, appropriating. Good grief. Don't know what you're talking about, but don't care about those people because the locals love it. They think it's fantastic.
I was triggered because he questioned how pure Korean my friend was, because I saw that as an attack on my daughter and your daughter.
No, yeah, right, exactly, and that's exactly right. And an attack on the guy himself
because he grew up in America, and I'm sure he had to deal with the discrimination there for not being purely white American, and then he has to deal with the discrimination here for not being purely Korean, and then you're dealing with the so-called liberal elite guy. I mean, so-called liberal who's not really a liberal, from New Hampshire. Saying this guy's not Korean enough. I'm like, according to what measurements? I mean, what? Okay, so he wasn't born here, but he's lived here a lot longer than some of the chefs we're talking to.
Right.
I mean, as in, like, he's older than they are.
Right.
He's been living in this land longer than some of these people have even existed.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like cooking and food knowledge isn't something we're born with. You learn it. So, anyway, and we're getting off topic too. So
no, but what's funny is like some of the Korean, the rest of the people are Korean, and some of the Koreans I've had to hold back because they're wanting to do stuff that isn't even that. They wanted to show how to do fried chicken in an air fryer, and I'm like, oh, that's not traditional. We want to do traditional chicken.
Right.
This is what you get.
Yeah. Right.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Anyway, this is why I don't do fixing anymore. My rule is if none of us are on camera, we're not doing the fixing. Because they want our knowledge, but they don't value us enough to say we're Korean enough for them. We're
right.
It's just use and we're just disposable. And I really that's why I don't do this anymore. I really don't. I mean, Ron was next to me in the car. He actually put his hand on my knee just to calm me down because he knew how much that guy just fucking pushed my buttons on that one. Oh.
Yeah. So for everyone listening, you have to know that this was very cathartic for Joe. Joe needed this.
I am sorry. I'm really sorry about this. I'm going to get in trouble. We're going to lose so many. We're going to lose our listener for this.
Yeah, whatever. It's all good. It's okay. Let's wrap up.
All right. Do you have any media recommendations?
Yeah, I do. And I picked some of my favorite horror films that involve tourists or travelers in some way. And of course, there's the old story about the stranded travelers, right, who stay in an old dark house on a stormy night. And probably the most classic film that does this is called The Old Dark House on no, it's not on a stormy night, but The Old Dark House. Great film from the 30s, fantastic. And I think I have recommended this before, but I can't remember if I did or not. But The Old Dark House, fantastic. Go see that. The original, not the remake in the 60s.
That would be the new Dark House.
Yeah, that's right. the less old Dark House. Dracula, Prince of Darkness. This was technically the third Dracula film from Hammer Studios. There was one before that, but Dracula actually wasn't in it. It's The Brides of Dracula, but Dracula is not in it. Great. That's a great movie too. But the second one with Christopher Lee, is called Prince of Darkness. And it has to do with travelers who end up having to stay in Dracula's castle. And Dracula ends up being reanimated. Great movie. Fantastic. Great sequel. Really good movie. Tombs of the Blind Dead. I think I've recommended this at some point as well. Again, I don't remember what episode or why I did, but this is also about travelers. Great movie from the 70s. A little bit rough around the edges. You got to like these kinds of films to really appreciate it. But fantastic. I love it. Tombs of the Blind Dead. Lisa and the Devil. Everyone should watch this. It's a Mario Bava film. Fantastic. About a tourist who ends up in a really weird house with Telly Savalas.
Awesome!
Yeah.
Did he Players Club? You get him into the Players Club?
Who loves you, baby? So that's good. And A Candle for Satan, also about travelers who end up staying in a pretty shady lodging. And The Ritual. The Ritual is from a few years ago. It's on Netflix. I don't know if it's a Netflix original. I don't think it is, but Netflix ended up buying international distribution rights. That's a good movie. That's a lot of fun. That's kind of like a folk horror film, somewhat. Pretty good, like that. And then there are obvious classics like Jaws. Jaws is about traveling, about vacations and travelers and tourists, stuff like that at Amity Islands and whatnot. And then Psycho. Psycho, kind of, even though Janet Leigh in that isn't a traveler, she's doing something a bit shady, and so, but that's one as well. Classics.
Yeah, those are great ones. Listener mail. Or do you have
we got Yeah, we
Shout
got a
outs.
couple. Actually, yeah, I picked this one. This is a review on TripAdvisor that we just got recently from Karamia89.
Karamia.
Yeah, and Karamia said, as a listener of the Dark Side of Soul podcast, I was under no impression that this tour would be anything but amazing, and it was.
What is that? Hold on. No impression of this tour be anything. Does that mean she wasn't expecting it to be amazing? She was expecting it to.
I think she wasn't expecting it to be anything else but amazing. I think that's what she was saying.
I got confused.
Yeah. So, and then it's a little bit longer, but then Karamia89 ended the review with, I would definitely recommend anyone interested in Korean history, myth, and legend to attend this tour. And I added this one specifically because Karamia is a listener to the podcast. So listening right now, probably, thank you for joining the tour. Thank you for listening.
I also want to do a shout out to listener Delaney McClure for promoting us on one of the Facebook groups.
Okay. Thank you.
She put us on the list of 3 Korean podcasts you have to listen to. So thank you.
Oh, nice. That's the second. We've gotten on a few lists like that.
Yeah.
We were listed like first, like never number 1, but I was like 2 or 3.
Always a bridesmaid, never a bride. Which is fine with me.
Just funny. Better than being a shitty tourist.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you for listening. I want to point out that the Soul podcast is produced by Joe McPherson, Shawn Morrissey, and Mia Rakanti. Our opening and closing music is by Sodak Sound, which you can find on Bandcamp under Jeju Digital. Oh, excuse me. We'd like to thank our top tier patrons: Angel Earl, Joel Bonamini, Sharon Cullen, Devin Hiffner, Minsuk Lee, Alex Radia, Ryan Barkabal, Gabby Palomino, Steve Marsh, Chad Struz, Mitchie Brewer, Sarah Ford, Tony A, Sean Brown, Laura Casey, and Ashley Rigby. If you want to join this motley crew, you can go to patreon.com/darksideofsoul, and starting at just $5 a month, get a lot of extra content.
Lots of good stuff.
Yeah. So guys, again, we weren't targeting this at you because you're too intelligent for this. You're too civilized for this. I mean, I'm sure you listen to the podcast with your pinkies out. So you're sophisticated. Yes.
Drinking Grey Poupon.
Yeah. Drinking
it.
Drinking your Grey Poupon.
Yeah. Just drinking it.
All right. This is a sober too, by the way. Until next time, stay spooky.
Don't be a shitty tourist.